Hey there, welcome to Do Stuff Outdoors. Today we're in Camden Hills State Park. We're going to be tackling the Nature Loop Trail and taking in the ocean lookout. Ready? Let's go. One of the optional, for us it would be a spur that we might take. It depends on how things are going. It's not that far, about an extra mile to the total distance today. That would be a trip to the summit of Mount Megunticook, which is a Wabanaki or maybe a Penobscot, more specifically a Penobscot word that means place of the great sea swells or something where you can see the ocean is what it's referring to. The summit itself is relatively treed in, but there are spurs or side trails that lead to places where you can see some stuff. Now for us, the actual visual payoff is going to come at Ocean Lookout, which is the high point of this route that we're taking and the real draw. Mount Megunticook itself is the highest mainland coastal peak in Maine. It's just over 1,300 feet, and this area of Camden here in the mid-coast is one of the few places where you get a true coast-to-mountain experience within such a limited distance. This first part is a little steeper, getting some rock steps cut into the trail. One interesting thing to note about this region is that it was never formally ceded via treaty, and the Wabanaki Confederacy has maintained a cultural presence here since pre-European times. You know, a lot of the land that now makes up Camden Hills State Park was clear-cut centuries ago and allowed to reforest naturally, but in 1947 Maine created Camden Hills State Park, and so it's of course been off limits to logging since then. Even though there isn't too much elevation gain for this portion of the trail that we're taking today, you do pass through a few different ecological zones. We're in a predominantly hardwood portion right now, but as we get nearer the ocean lookout, and again possibly up to the Megunticook summit, we'll get into more spruce and firs. It's always curious to see how quickly the forest can change depending on elevation and perhaps proximity to the coast as well. Now the trail gets steep. Fortunately, there's a helpful arrow right there to remind you to look up. Now, based on that signage we just passed, we've got about 3/10 of a mile until we're at the ocean lookout. So we are just about there, just probably a couple more flights of stairs. Do you call them flights if they're just kind of tossed into the side of a hill like this, mountain? I guess this is technically a true mountain given its elevation, but anyway, stairs. I'm not sure if the camera picks it up, but you can see the town, and and the Atlantic, or Penobscot Bay, is that right? Penobscot Bay over my shoulder down there. So we are that close to the ocean, and yet we're still up these cliffs. And this is not quite the ocean lookout. This is just a little side spur. I don't know if it made the cut or not, but in the Grandfather Mountain video, my friend Brian mentioned a game, I guess, that he would do sometimes where you would try to see how far along a trail you could get without touching dirt, just rocks or logs. Well, it's pretty much cheating on this trail because that's all there is rocks. This section of it, I should say. This is the ocean lookout.
Really nice.
And down below us again, you can see Camden. Broader view of Penobscot Bay. And again, some firs. And then some hardwoods down below. It's a good view up here. Not quite 180, but yeah, it's nice. And there are Canadian wildfires right now, so the sky's maybe a little hazier than it might otherwise be. But still, pretty good payoff for a relatively short hike. I mentioned in the Little Wilson video that the Penobscot thought of transitional places between field and forest, or even the edge of a cliff, for example, as spaces where the seen world and the spirit world might be that much thinner, the border between them. And on an elevated place like this with a view out over the ocean, it's not too hard to imagine them thinking of a place like this as a good candidate for such an experience. Now, I'm not aware of any records that suggest that these cliffs or this mountain was considered such, but the characteristics certainly fit the template. I'm out here with my brother today, and we're going to take the half-mile spur to the Megunticook summit. See if we can see anything up there. I don't think that it's known for its views, but we'll check it out. We're going to come back this way anyway. Well, here's the summit of Mount Megunticook, 1,385 feet, according to the signage. There aren't any views up here, but here we are. At least we can say we got to the summit of Mount Megunticook. We're back at the ocean lookout, just kind of exploring this little bit of a side. I don't even know if it counts as a trail, it's just exposed rock. And they're too fast and they were too quick, so I didn't get the camera on them. But given the nature of these cliffs, I have seen some peregrine falcons. I think at least 3 or 4 hunting around here. We are working our way down the Megunticook Trail. A lot of exposed, pretty well-worn rock surfaces here. And of course, staircases.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, no.
we are just about finished with this portion of the Megunticook Trail. But today we got to see elevated views of Camden from the ocean lookout, and we got to visit Maine's highest mainland coastal peak, Mount Megunticook. We're almost done, like I said, back to the parking lot, so that's going to wrap things up for us today. Anyway, I just want to say thank you for hanging out with us, and I look forward to seeing you next time.